Welcome to the Idaho Bride podcast, Ashley.
Thank you.
What's your business name?
I'm with Wild Alpine Floral.
How did you come up with that?
Oh man. Well, I started out as Moralia Floral, actually, my last name. And I felt like I just needed to pick a business name and I couldn't decide. And I'm really indecisive. I was like, well, it's going to be that way forever. So it has to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I just picked Moralia Floral because I was like, I can't go wrong.
Yeah.
It's a pretty name. It's great. But then no one could spell it. No one could say it if they did know how to spell it. And if they did know how to say it, they probably couldn't spell it to like look it up and remember to like
Yeah.
search it. I was like, that is not very SEO friendly. I wanted something that really encapsulated like I love like the wildflower style, but also very garden inspired and mountain inspired. So I felt like Alpine. I was trying to find, I was like, I don't know, like ski or like just something in French. Like maybe I should do like mountain in French or something like that. But I felt like Alpine felt very me and wild is like very organic style relating to the mountains. So Wild Alpine.
I love it.
Yeah, thanks.
How did you get into florals?
Oh man, great question. I did my own wedding flowers, which I feel like is a very like it's kind of a cliche thing to say, like, I did my own wedding flowers and I loved it. But I have always felt very called to creative things. Like I loved painting and doing pottery and like making things with my hands. And so when it came to my wedding, I was like, okay, well, I want to DIY like everything because I love making things. And so I felt like flowers would be a really special thing to do. And I hadn't really done a lot before then. And I think everyone was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And I couldn't really find anyone to go up to McCall in the time period that I was engaged. So I was like, yeah, maybe no problem. Like, I could totally do it. I'm just that kind of gal. I'm like, yeah, I could do it.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm getting into. But I decided I would and learned a lot, took some classes and did it myself. And it was a lot. And after the wedding, I was like, no one should ever have to do learn how to do it and do it themselves ever. Like that was so much. And I loved it so much. Like I was super happy with how everything turned out. But I was like, I could do it again, but better.
Yeah.
Like that was so fun.
Yeah.
And so I studied under some really awesome event planners and florists in the area. Yeah, I did that for quite a while and then decided to jump into my own events and here we are.
That's awesome. I always love hearing stories because I feel like they're all so different, like how you got started.
Yeah.
And it's the funniest things that spark inspiration.
Right? I know I did my own and I remember telling one of my guests, I was like, I think she complimented the flowers or like said something about the flowers. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. Thanks. Like I could do that every day. Like if I could do this every day, I would be happy. Like it would be so fun.
Yeah.
And then she asked me to do her daughter's wedding flowers. And I was like, yeah, that would be so fun. Oh my gosh, thanks for thinking of me. I felt so special. And it was like months after the wedding. And so I was like, oh, well, now I need like a business name and, a business license and all of these things so I can shop wholesale. And so I did all of the research and was asking a lot of people like, hey, how do I kind of like dip my toes in? And then someone else had seen that I started a business on Instagram. One of my friends from high school had told someone in her church, and that girl at church had told someone else. And then they were like, hey, do you want to help us out? And it was someone that had like a wedding and event, like floristry and planning. And I was like, yeah. So I did that for quite a while and I learned so much. And she was just awesome and so supportive. And yeah, it was just very serendipitous. And I feel like it's a lot of times it is that kind of word of mouth being like, oh, someone told someone, and then they hired me and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Which, it's just the chain of events is crazy. But
it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so nice to have such a supportive community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And I feel like I've noticed in Idaho specifically, we're very like buy local, shop local, like support local. And I think that's huge because not a lot of other states are like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like it's a very like self-starter kind of community. And a lot of people and friends that I have just like start businesses and we're all like, oh, that's so fun. And then we, shop each other and then it spreads and grows and it's just fabulous. But I love how supportive everyone is. And I don't know, I feel like it's just such an awesome community as a whole. People that are just coming into the industry I feel like in a lot of places get kind of like shunned or shut out, like especially in floristry. They don't want to share like tricks of the trade or like how to do certain things or like where they order from and all of these things. But I feel like in Idaho, we're a really tight community of people that are like, "Oh, you're new, like, do you wanna come, like, help out?" Like,
Mhm.
like, if you'd wanna learn, then you can come work under me for a bit, like, things like that, and it's just incredible. I
It
feel so
is.
lucky.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Did you grow up here?
I did, yeah, born and raised in Nampa, went away for college, came back, got married, just kinda awesome. I didn't really ever know what I really, really wanted to do. Oh man, that's like a whole other thing. But I always knew that I wanted to have my own business because
Mm.
my parents are entrepreneurs. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I always really looked up to them and how hard they worked and what they've built. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to have some kind of like fun, creative business. Here I am, kind of fell into floristry and it is perfect all around. It's just
Yeah.
like the best fit ever.
I was thinking about that on the way over here. I was like, man, like, because I was noticing because there's a lot of people on the road, and I was like, it's a Tuesday. Like, shouldn't you people be
I
at
say
work?
that all the time. I'm like Marco Poloing my friends. I'm like, why isn't anybody at their job?
Yeah.
And they're like, we're both not at our like we're both working. We're
Yeah.
like at Costco on a Tuesday,
Yeah.
Just
It's like, but my thought process was like, I could never go back to working a job. Like,
oh, I
I,
know. The commute, sitting at a desk,
yeah,
all of the things.
yeah,
I do miss having coworkers,
yeah.
you
I will
know.
say that. But
But
just like it's so hard like building somebody else's dream.
yes.
And like now that
Yeah.
like we've all had a taste of doing our own thing, like I don't think any of us could ever
Yeah.
go back.
I know. I feel so lucky every single day. I just sit in it for a little bit. I'm like, this is my job. Like, I can do all of my ordering and emails, like, in my pajamas on my couch. This is my job, it's so cool, and then,
Yeah.
like, the hard work of it is, like, really hard, but at the same time, it's so pretty and fun and, like,
Mhm.
creative, and I feel so lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
it's the best.
If you weren't going kind of off of that, if you weren't a vendor, what do you think you'd be doing?
Okay, I've put a lot of thought into this question. I was actually thinking about it last night. I was like, "What if she asked me that question?" Because I don't know. I have
Yeah.
no idea,
What
but
did you do before?
I was kind of all over. I was a nanny for a bit and I worked in retail and I had a job in marketing, like flower adjacent
Mm,
marketing, which is awesome. And but none of it was really anything I was passionate about.
mhm.
I loved nannying, loved the family I nannied for, but I knew that wasn't like a super long-term thing. But I in college I was kind of oh my gosh, I switched my major a bunch.
I think everybody does.
I know. I mean, I dropped out after a little bit because I was
Same.
like, none of this is really
Same.
exactly what I'm looking for. And now I totally understand why. I'm like, oh, yeah, no wonder like the classroom wasn't exactly where I wanted to be. Like, this is where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
But I think like growing up, I was like, I want to have my own business. I want to do something creative. So in high school, for, your senior project, I was like, I'm going to be a band director. That'd be so fun because I was in band for years and years. And I had the best band teacher ever. She's so inspiring and always encouraged me to like chase after my creative endeavors. Just awesome. And I was like, I want to be like her. And so I was like, I'm going to be a band teacher. Just, I was not that good at music. I don't know where that thought came from. I'm like, yeah, I can teach people how to do this. No,
No.
like I couldn't. But yeah, funny enough, my band teacher and I actually live like super close to each other and we're great friends now. And she freelances for me, which is really cool. Yeah. So I was like, oh, what a small world. It's just
Yeah.
so fun. So I would have been a band teacher and I think long term, I would have ended up doing something creative, like having a storefront that sells like art prints and a cafe. Like, I actually think I would love doing something like that. I feel like everyone's like, oh, that'd be so cute to have like a bookstore, coffee shop situation. But that was totally a dream of mine. So,
That's cool. I think it's so funny how, like, in school, like, we idolize teachers and, think we think, like, "Oh, we can never talk to them," but then, like, outside of school, you're like, "Oh, you're just a person
yeah,
just like me."
you're so fun.
Yeah,
I know. And
yeah.
we're good family friends. Like, my sister knows her and my parents know her, like, before she was my teacher too. And so we were like,
Oh,
oh, so now she's just like a family friend. And it's so fun. And like, I don't know. It really makes me think about how impressionable we are at like,
Mhm.
16, 17, 18, and 19, 20.
Even, like, before though too.
Mm, yeah,
Oh,
like a
yeah.
good one, like one good teacher can change your whole life. And yeah, I feel really lucky because like all of my great teachers, I had a lot, everyone has a lot of teachers. I had a lot of like good teachers, but I had a couple like really standout teachers and they all were so supportive of a creative
Mm.
endeavor. Like whether I was like picking up like painting or I designed the t-shirts for like band one year and like random things like a graphic design internship. They were like, "That's so cool. Like you can totally do that." And
Yeah.
so I feel like a lot of people aren't met with that
Mm.
encouragement of a creative profession.
Or just even in general, like, I feel like a lot of kids just kinda, like, get passed through the system.
Mm, yep. They're like, okay, like, what job are you gonna do?
Where are you
Where are
gonna
you
go to
gonna work?
college?
Yeah, where are you gonna go to college? And I think that's just how the
Society,
culture is.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's totally fine. And there's nothing wrong with going and having an office job, but not having one is great. It's
Also
really nice.
amazing.
Yeah.
Um, what would what's one thing your clients would say about working with you?
Man. Well, I feel like from my perspective, I have the best clients ever and they're so fun and laid back. So I hope from their point of view that they would say that working with me is easy and stress free and that I execute their vision. I have a lot of brides that do text me after the wedding or email me after the wedding, as well as leave reviews, which is so nice. I just put up my Google page because I had so much trouble with it. So I like don't have that many reviews on Google, but shout out if you want to go on Google. If you worked with me,
Leave a review.
but I do have a lot of brides that like text or email me after the wedding, which is so heartwarming. And
Mhm.
almost all of them say like it looked exactly like my Pinterest board,
Oh, good.
which is all I could ever ask for.
Yeah.
I had one, my bride on Saturday. Andra, I love you. She told me, like, she almost cried when she walked into her reception. She's like, I feel like I stepped into my Pinterest board. I was like, yeah. I was so excited. Yeah, I just love the creative
Yeah.
aspect of it. And I think my brides are like really flexible with that too. And so, yeah, I hope they say that it's easy and fun and pretty and all the things.
I feel like having an expert is definitely important. How do you approach weddings differently than other florists?
Okay, I love floristry and the community of floristry because every single florist is different. Every vendor, no matter who you're going for, is going to be different and offer different things. But with floristry, especially like your choice of flowers can really distinguish your style and your process as well. I feel like with my style, in regards to how I'm different for different than other florists. I really emphasize local when possible and having really fluttery, romantic garden style
I
flowers.
feel like yours are very whimsical.
Thank you. That's like one of the words I say it all the time. Like very whimsical, a whimsical meadow, a whimsical arbor. But really, that's how I want it all to feel is like kind of ethereal
Mhm.
or I don't know. I had a really sweet vendor. She like came up to me while I was doing an install and she's like, my gosh, they kind of feel like butterflies. And I was like, because they were like, the sweet peas were kind of like, wiggling in the wind. And then, just like cute little butterfly ranunculus just kind of swaying. She's like, they kind of look like butterflies. I was like, that's how I want all of my flowers to feel. And so I love that very romantic style.
Mhm.
And I feel like you can really emphasize that when you shop local as well, because when you have flowers that are shipped in from Ecuador or Colombia or Holland or, all of the places, they kind of have to be a little bit sturdier most of the time. But with local, you get the better quality and they're already acclimated to like the
Mhm.
temperature and climate here. And so I feel like I find a lot better luck with like those fluttery kind of blooms that I always love. And booking process in terms of how I'm different, I think there's two kind of main ways florists kind of go about the inquiry process. I love the way mine is set up for both me and the client because it provides a lot of clarity on what they're looking for early on. Uh, so usually, not usually. always. I have clients go through my inquiry portal. So it just says like, tell me 1 to 2 sentences about your wedding, as well as their date, venue, contact info. And then if I'm available, I'll respond with a questionnaire that goes more in depth. And if I'm not available, that saves them the time and energy of filling out that super long questionnaire, because that's really, it's so hard. And I remember being a bride and being like, I just want to know what you're gonna I just want to know how much it's going to cost. And like, I totally understand that. With floristry, I can't really give a number up front and being like, it's going to be blank, because it is based on how much you want and what you want and the flowers that you want. But at least having that first step of like, if I'm available kind of helps. So then I'll send a questionnaire and it has like, how many bridesmaids bouquets do you want? How many centerpieces? And we can make any changes after that you want. But then kind of gives us a good starting point. So then I'll send a quote. And then after booking, I send a full design board, which is really nice. So brides can be like, actually, really, really like photo number 1 and 5 for my bridal bouquet. And then the other ones, I don't really like the lavender. I don't really like this. And then we can like change it up to make it even more specific versus a one-time, like a one photo kind of inspiration, because it's never going to look just like one photo, So I provide a bunch of different ones. But
That's awesome.
yeah.
I think that is very unique because I feel like my understanding, because I don't know like a ton about florals, but my understanding was like you would just give the like your inspiration or like whatever you wanted, and then like you show up on the day like, hope I like it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do, and that's great. I really want my brides to feel confident walking into their wedding day knowing that it's going to be perfect, what they're expecting. Because, I mean, I've heard stories from friends that have had their flowers done for their weddings and things and be like, I asked for rust and it was orange. And I did not like that. And I was like, and me as a florist thinking, okay, if a bride comes to me wanting rust, there aren't really any true rust colored flowers. So then I can provide some inspiration of being like, okay, I like your colors are rust, but maybe we can emphasize a little bit of this, like, kind of muted orange with these other colors to kind of support that, instead of just being like, okay, got it. And then it's not what they're thinking it's going to be, because, so I like to provide that clarity as much as I can. I'm being like, okay, we can use these kinds of flowers. And if you don't like that, then we can pivot and have your bridesmaid dresses be rust, and then their flowers can be white and green and tan, instead of having that specific shade if you're really fixated on like one like Pantone swatch kind of thing. So that's kind of why I do the design boards, is like colors and overall vision, because each piece of your wedding is going to be so different. That like if you want aisle meadows, that's something that can be super flexible on size. So then I'll show you a picture of being like, okay, this is what I quoted for something that's kind of like this size, because even if I say it's going to be 12 inches long, like wide, and then this many inches high, people have a really hard time envisioning like, okay, so it's like this boxy situation. So if I show a picture, be like, this is what it looks like next to a chair. Or do you want something that's like 3 feet wide, like this kind of size? Then we can change the quote. And I'm like, oh, okay. So a little bit more visual clarity. But
I'm a very visual person too, so I feel like that would be super helpful.
yeah.
Because I like you tell me those dimensions and I'm like,
yeah. And most, I'd say like 90% of brides that I chat with are like, I just need help like envisioning it. And like, I'm your girl. I can help you. And I do ceremony mock-ups too, which is really nice. Just Canva and make it all up and take a picture from their ceremony site if possible, or venue. Not all the time, but when I have access to one, or can do a venue walkthrough and take a picture. And then I can like put the digital flowers like on the piece. So then you can kind of see like, okay, there's going to be this much on one side of my arbor and this much on the other side. Maybe we want to balance it out, or things like that. So, yeah.
What would you tell a bride or couple who's looking to make the most out of florals without breaking the budget?
Love that question, because I also think like staying within budget it is like the most important thing, because no matter what your budget is, whether it's 1,000 or 100,000, there is a budget. There's always going to be a budget, unless, you're one of those people that I aspire to be one day. But, there's always going to be a budget. So staying within the budget is really important. And the way to do that is to make impact where you're going to spend money, because your dollars can evaporate so fast when it's like $15 here, $10 here, $3 there. It's like when you go out to eat every day.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, where'd my paycheck go? That kind of concept kind of goes towards your wedding as well. Onesie twosie things aren't going to have as much of an impact. You're gonna be like, what did I just spend $20,000 on? So if you can spend, you know, 6,000 on a ceremony or even 2,000 on a ceremony that's really lush and full and a focal point, and then save another 2,000 or 3,000 from a couple ceremony tables by having like something really, really minimal or even like nothing at all and just going like all candles or something like that. It does help with budget a lot and makes more of an impact. And flip to your reception. Flip. I love flip. Like every single bride, I'm like, so what can we change? Like, what can we make that we can transfer over? So, sweetheart's table, I almost never design anything specifically for the sweetheart's table. It's always the ceremony repurposed,
Okay.
which is really nice because then they always have something really beautiful and lush next to them,
Yeah.
but it's not going to cost another $1,000,
Yeah.
you know?
And because you're not going to do anything with the ceremony flowers anyways.
Right. Yeah. You're there for 30 minutes or you're there for 2 minutes. Yeah. I've had ceremonies that were less than 5. And there was a lot of flowers there. There were
Yeah.
a lot of beautiful flowers and beautiful
like, "There's so many
installations. And I'm like,
flowers."
yeah, do you want, like, let's make sure that we can bring this to your reception so people can look at it all night and you can enjoy it all night. Because at your ceremony, I remember mine, I didn't look at my arbor one time.
Yeah.
I was staring at the eyes of the love of my life. I was like, oh, we're getting married. I'm not looking over here. I'm not looking around really. I'm
They got
looking
the
at the
pictures.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're for the pictures. They really are. And so when you're going to look at them is when you're at dinner and you're like soaking it all in and you're like, oh my gosh, we're married now. I'm so excited. Look at all of these people around me and look at all of the pretty decor. Like we did it. This is our wedding day. And you're looking around and it's just like, then it really hits you. And so being able to take all of that time and money and effort that's put into your ceremony site and being able to like transfer that to your reception is so helpful budget wise and time wise, I feel like too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and that way it's just like more like eco-friendly anyways, because again, you're not going to go back out realistically to the ceremony space to see those. So,
Right. Yeah. Sometimes people take pictures there afterwards for another half hour. But then I just repurpose the other things to the reception. Like if you have meadows by your welcome sign, taking those in and putting them by your seating chart. If you have things at, the entrance of your venue, then I like take those and put them at the entrance of your reception, things like that. And then I can go back and take all of the aisle meadows, transport them, the ceremony pieces, transport them, and makes it super easy. And then it's like magic because your guests walk in your reception space and they're like, they were there and now, and it's
yeah.
really fun. I had a really sweet older guest and she was like, but the one at the ceremony looked just like that one. And I was like, that's so sweet. It's the same one. She's like, what? So cute. I was like,
Oh,
I know. She's like, you moved that thing? And I was like, well, we did. And I was like looking at my team. I was like, I can't move that thing by myself. So just really fun and
that
kind of
is.
magical too.
That is.
Yeah.
Are there any floral trends that you're like really liking right now?
Yeah. Aisle meadows. I use those
Yeah.
as an example all the time for pieces that we can flip because they're so versatile and they really enhance your whole ceremony space. Like you walk in, I mean, you as bride like walks in and you're like, oh my gosh, and it feels so much more like lush and full. But also for your guests, it's more of an immersive experience for them to be sitting in the flowers
Yeah.
versus like just kind of like looking at them over there. Just having some like right next to you feels very personal, I feel like. And you can just pick them up and move them somewhere else.
That's
And
true.
so I have some brides that want them as centerpieces. So we do like petite aisle meadows, and some brides that are like, I want them super big and lush. And then we put them like all around the cake table or all around, the staircase entrance or things like that. But I also really, really love colorful flowers. Like that's my whole brand. I do a share of like white and green. I love white and green. Very classic, very timeless. But I do think it's becoming much more trendy to have colorful, but that's the other thing. Just because it's trendy doesn't mean it's not timeless either.
That's true.
Because you can have flowers that, look at your like grandparents' flowers. Not all of them are white.
No.
So, I don't know.
Well, and I feel like it's very much like how it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Having a very like tasteful and artistic way of looking at color is important because there's some, I'm not like a real primary colors kind of gal. Like if I'm going to have purple and I don't know, purple and pink in a palette, I'm probably gonna have some, or like for example, like if I'm gonna have yellow and red in a palette, like in a fall palette, if they're like, I really want something like kind of rust and red, and then something really bright yellow too, I'm gonna have some orange pieces in there too to bridge it, because
Mhm.
you need some colors that bridge, or else it's gonna look very harsh, kind of hard on your eyeballs.
Well, that's not gonna photograph well.
Yes, and I mean, that's a style. It's not really my style. That's
Mhm.
fine.
That's true.
But yeah, I think an artistic way to look at flowers is important, as like, I mean,
And
if
just even understanding the basic color, like, how or
yeah,
color,
color theory.
yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a little, like a bunch of orange, but you don't want it to be really bright, if you want them like really, really soft and you want to mute it even further, like do something a little bit like contrasting.
Mm.
If you want it to pop, if you want it to be muted, then do something a little bit softer, like next to it, like maybe a little bit of blush. That's something not a lot of brides think about, is like if you're gonna have like an autumn palette, put some blush in there so it doesn't feel like Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Love.
yeah.
So things like that that you might not think about is also really nice to be like, this is my general color palette. Florist, what do you think? And I'm like, okay, I like, this is like your full color palette, versus like 1 to 2 like paint swatches kind of thing. Like,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's important. Are there any, trends that you're hating right now?
Oh my gosh. Okay, this might be really controversial. I'm so sorry. But like a square arbor, I just, I don't know.
What do you mean?
Like like, at your ceremony site when it's square, the square
Oh,
wooden
mhm, like
arbor.
what you traditionally think of?
I don't know why. It's just not my fave.
No, and honestly, like, I've been thinking about that a lot too. Like, I'm like, that's so like, it kind of just like closes in the ceremony space
Yeah.
versus where there's like ground florals, like it just opens it up.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it's that traditional like arbor, I mean, to me that's like
Mhm.
traditional. Um, but then you do it like in a landscape like Idaho, like it has tons of beautiful backdrops. You're completely cutting out like the mountain behind you
Yeah,
or whatever else
for
because you've
sure.
got this big
Yeah,
thing in your way.
I
So
know. I mean,
I don't think that's
I
controversial.
I have a lot of a lot of controversial takes on things that I like and don't like, but that's my personal style that I don't really love, is like anything rustic. I'm just
Mm,
not a real rustic girly. I don't know.
hopefully, I mean, I think I've noticed that in all the trends that I've seen that Idaho's a lot less rustic
Yeah.
than people think.
Yeah.
When I was delivering the magazines to Salt Lake, somebody was like, "People get married in Idaho." I was like, "It's
It's
Idaho, and
ma'am?
yes, we have a lot of beautiful weddings." Okay,
Yeah. Rude?
I
Fine.
know.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah,
I think
no,
that the whole wedding vendor community is making a huge effort in the
mhm,
Boise area, especially from what I'm seeing, to really push styled shoots that are more editorial and elevated. I think luxury is kind of a subjective word because all weddings are a luxury to have. I don't know, but more inspired by things outside of the state, whether it's having a styled shoot by, I don't know, Payette Lake, and it's like inspired by some ceremony in California, or having, oh my gosh, I saw the most beautiful styled shoot by Dear Kodak. She shot my wedding. I'm obsessed with Sav. She did one at Craters of the Moon, and yeah, it was like inspired by like space kind of
yeah,
thing. And I was like, oh,
those
but
were
it's not
so
like,
good.
yeah. And it's far from, it's not like a cheesy like stars and moons, and
Mhm,
it was so elevated and
mhm,
beautiful. I'm like, that's Idaho. That's why people would travel to come here for their wedding, is things like that. And so artists in the area that have these visions of being like, this is how we elevate the space, and actually executing it is really helping the community as a whole and inspiring people across the country and like worldwide. Being
yeah,
like, this is possible. And that's something really unique to Idaho, is Craters of the Moon, that not everybody can replicate.
yeah.
So that's a really cool thing to do too, is like elevating the space as a whole. I don't know.
I
I
know.
love it.
Well, and like it's so interesting because I'm having the hardest time like coming up with the ideas that I want for the fall editorial. Because I want to do a styled shoot, but I don't want it to be basic.
Yeah.
Like like the styled shoes that you think of, you're like, yes, like that's beautiful, and yes, that's extremely well done. But I've seen that before,
Yes.
and so
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time with that. But I just got to think outside the box.
Yeah, that's the hard part is, like, finding beautiful things. That's another thing. I love Pinterest. I love Pinterest. I wish Pinterest could run my whole life, but the more you're on Pinterest, the more limited you are to what's already been done before. Don't get me wrong, my screen time on Pinterest is not even funny, but I do try to take some time away from Pinterest and, like, looking at, like, individual flowers or arrangements made in Asia or, like,
Mm.
oh my gosh, I follow a lot of Australian designers, things like that that are really inspiring of, like, this is something maybe a little bit more outside the box or really modern or just in a completely different style than what I'm, like, used to seeing every day. And that's really helpful of being like, "Oh my gosh, the the colors in this pansy are actually really gorgeous together. It's like purple and yellow with streaks of blue. That's so cool."
Oh
Like,
yeah.
that could inspire a whole palette kind of
Hmm.
thing. And being more present in the moment and looking at your surroundings, I feel like is really helpful to kind of inspire things. But also, I follow a lot of, like, Australia, they're ahead of it.
They
They're ahead of
are.
it. They see the day first. They see the trends first. It's just different over there.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that looking outside of the US for trends is really, really helpful too.
Hmm.
I'm seeing so many trends I'm loving, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I do see a lot of trends. And then I'm like, you know what's going to be huge next year? Butter yellow. Guess what's huge this year? Butter yellow. I called it last like April, or it was a long while ago. I was like, you know what's going to be big? Butter yellow. And then KitchenAid's like, oh, guess what our color is this year? Butter yellow. I don't know. I love it. I'm obsessed with it.
Well, and I've noticed that too. I'll look at like florals that come across my feed or something, and I'll like click on the thing because I'm like, oh, maybe I can feature that one. It's in like England, and
Right?
I'm like,
Yeah.
holy cow! Like,
I know, it's so fun. I don't know. I love it. My wanna hear my trend prediction? This is Ashley's trend prediction. I'm saying orange. Orange is gonna be the next thing. It's very natural if you think about it. I also was thinking that about mauve. And then guess what was big this year? Mauve. I don't know.
yeah,
I I don't set the trends. I look at I observe. I
yeah.
observe and I take notes. And I love it so much. I love looking at trends. I always have. I love looking at trends in home decor. I love
Mm.
looking at trends in fashion. I love it's so fun. I love it so much. And that's another thing. Okay, I could chat for like hours about this, but the more you look at home decor and fashion and like textiles and things like that, the more you see inspiration in weddings being pulled from those things,
Oh
which is
yeah.
really cool. Like you'll see in home decor. I mean, I am not an interior designer. Like, for those of you that have seen my house before, like it's beautiful and so cute, but it's not like the most on trend. I mean, it's beautiful. I love
Mm.
my house so much, but I'm not an interior designer. I am not very good at that, but I love observing things.
Mm.
But and so in interior design, you'll kind of see a lot of organic stoneware and a little bit of that like clean white is out that was in for a long time, and then the
Mhm.
beige that was in is kind of out now.
Yeah, more
Um,
like organic.
yeah,
Like,
now we're leaning towards like mushrooms and really dark saturated colors with stoneware,
mhm,
and having that like kind of rough, like textural, earthy look, and
mhm.
then paired with like dried grasses and things, but not pompous. I'm just saying, like people are taking tumbleweeds and using them as decor. And they're taking driftwood and using it as decor, which I feel like has been a thing in like beach houses for a long time, but now they're taking it into a really like different take.
Tumbleweeds? I have not seen that.
I know.
I did hear that people, like, don't quote me on this, but, like, people back east were buying tumbleweeds because they don't have it or something
Yeah.
like that. What?
Yeah. No, I used to live in Mountain Home. I would drive by and there was this fence and it had like a wall.
Yeah,
A wall of maybe like 6 or 7 feet worth of tumbleweeds.
yeah.
I was like, that's $1,010 right there. Like I could sell each one of those for $800. It's crazy. People do buy tumbleweeds for home decor
Oh
and
my
it's
god.
nuts. Idaho is already on trend.
The first time that we're
For the
on
first time
trend.
ever, we were ahead of the in wedding decor, not tumbleweeds, but you'll see a lot of grasses and like dried kind of that's I think I just love it. But yeah, you'll see a lot of those same trends that you see in home decor in weddings, which is cool.
That makes sense.
And the stoneware I feel like we're kind of straying away from really, really, I don't know how to describe it, but like clean and shiny vases to
Mhm.
more of like a textured, weathered look.
Mhm.
So it's really
I
cool.
like it. I like that, we're getting away from even in homes decor specifically, but getting away from, like, the clean and
Doctor's office
yeah,
vibe.
like,
Yeah.
it's sterile, like,
Yeah.
look at these, like, new builds, and, 'cause I spend too much time on Zillow,
Me.
but, I look at all the new builds, and they're all, like, don't give me any inspiration. I'm like,
Yeah.
"This is sad. I
Yeah.
would hate to live there." But then,
Oh.
like, the older houses that get remodeled,
hmm
like, "That's beautiful."
Yeah. It has character.
And it's not the same thing every single picture, like, I swear
Yeah.
I just looked at the same picture
Yeah.
in a different listing, but yeah, no,
Yep.
it's so I'm glad that we're getting into, like, the more, like, drama in life, like,
Yeah.
it's more I don't know the word for it, but we're getting character back.
Yeah. We're like not afraid to have personality
Yeah.
anymore, which
Yeah.
I love. I feel like, I don't know, especially with socials. I have so many opinions, but with socials, for like 10 plus years, the thing was to not have a personality and to have the same personality as everybody else, which is no personality. And you all use the same filters. You all use the same exact poses. You know, like things, you all wear the same clothes. That's the thing, especially with social media because it made all of that
Mhm.
so accessible to see all the time and absorb. I feel like now we're really rebelling against that and being like, that's actually so lame. I hate that.
Yeah.
So that's translating into weddings too, which is fun of being like, oh, I can have a personality again. This rocks. Like, I
Yeah.
don't have to have baby's breath or I don't have to have pompous. I don't have to have eucalyptus. Like, if I want to have some random, if I really want to have like forget me nots, like you can do that. Like things
Yeah.
like that, that I think are really fun.
I think that that has been, like, the biggest shift for me as far as, like, socials is, like, it was cool to not care,
Yeah.
and it was cool to, like, not comment on other people's things or, like,
Right?
not like other people's things. So, like, I have, like, had to rewire my brain, like, "No,
Yeah.
you have to
You have
engage."
to engage
Yeah.
the algorithm.
Yeah.
It'll hate you if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
But it's so
yeah.
much like, it honestly truly is so much more fun when you do engage because, like, it just helps with the sense of community.
Yeah. I've made so many friends on Instagram
Yeah.
by commenting.
Yeah.
I have a friend who does preservation, floral preservation in, I wanna say it's Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
She's incredible. She's
Yeah.
on my referral list. But I think we both followed each other for a while. We both liked each other's posts. And then I think she reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I love your work." And I was like, "I'm obsessed with you.
Yeah.
I've admired your work forever." And we're like,
Yeah.
"How are you? How's life? How's your family?" And now we're good friends. And like, so cool. And it is really, it's cool to engage.
It is cool, and you like you said, you build those friendships because like, you're always like I feel like you're always rooting for people online,
Mm,
but then when they know that you're rooting for them, like, it just helps so much more.
yeah. Yeah. Because followers are just a number. They are. Your followers literally don't matter. I feel like your followers matter. The
Yep.
amount of followers you have don't matter.
Yeah.
Um, it does not determine how talented you are. Having followers that like actively engage
Engage.
and cheer you on and like are people that, they're all people, but like the ones that really are encouraging
Mhm.
just make the whole job worth it. I feel like
Mhm.
socials is really hard for me because I get stuck in this comparison cycle and I feel like everyone kind of does. Um Having people that reach out and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is beautiful." When I post on
Mhm.
my story, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's so nice."
It's like a little
I know. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's so fun." I don't know. I think it's so special. And so
Mhm.
I actively try and make the effort because I'll just click through stories and be like, "Oh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
that's so pretty. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful." And now I'm like, "Okay, I need to take just like 10 minutes and every single one that I come by that I do actually really like, I'm going to text like I'm going to DM and be like, "This is gorgeous. I love how you used this and this and this. Like
Mhm.
beautiful work."
Yeah.
Things like that are really specific. It also helps me be like, okay, the people that are looking at my things also care. And if they don't, they don't. That's fine.
Yeah.
But most of the time, the people that are looking at it are like actual people that like are
Yeah.
supporting me. I don't know.
And it's easier to humanize, like, your posts when there's actual humans responding.
Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, no, I only have like 100 likes or whatever." I'm like, that's 100 people.
Yeah.
If I had 100 people text me and be like, "That photo is so pretty," I would pass away.
Yeah.
So I would not be well. I'd be like, I'm famous.
Yeah.
I'm literally famous. But then we see 100 likes on Instagram. We're like, hide likes. Like, that's not enough. You
Yeah.
know? Like, it's such a weird mental game.
It is.
And
It is. But I'm glad that we're shifting to engage it.
yeah.
Engaging is cool.
And I think Instagram is kind of giving us the option to not look at those numbers if we don't want to. Like, I was looking at my reels. Is it my reels? And it just said like the view counts on my reels went away.
Oh.
I was like, where are my numbers at? Because my numbers are not giant, but like,
Yeah.
I was like, where are my numbers at? But I think they're like trying to give us the option if we don't want to look at those numbers that we don't have to, which is kind of interesting.
That is really interesting.
Which I kind of like because I don't get caught up in being like, well, this one didn't do well. This one didn't do well because I had a post from like 3 or 4 months ago that just got on the explore page and I'm getting notifications all the time. I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But at the time I'm like, that one
Delete
didn't
it.
get enough. Delete, archive, you know,
Yeah.
I'll pull it out later.
Yeah.
No, doesn't matter. It literally does not matter.
Yeah. That's I think that's probably something I'll go in and do because when I post something, I like refresh.
Me.
How many views? Like,
Right? I'm like going out of the app and clicking back in and seeing that little number. It's like 3 hearts. I'm like, ah. Yeah.
like
It's
I can't do
addicting. It's
anything
bad.
else the rest of the day because I have to sit here and refresh.
Yeah. I know. I have to like just mute my phone for a couple hours because I'm like, it actually doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It literally doesn't matter. And go through like once or twice a day and like respond to people that comment, which I'm not very good at. I try, you know, things like that. But social's hard.
It is. It is. What would you say is the most rewarding part of your job when it comes to working with couples on their big day?
I love having like handing over the flowers that have been so meticulously grown and shipped and cared for and taken care of, like each single petal and every single leaf. And I poured so much love and handing that over. And for them, it holds so much meaning.
Yeah.
And so I love being able to bring that moment so much beauty for them because it's already the most special day. It's your most special day, you know, but
Yeah.
being able to make it really beautiful is really, really special for me and helping them just recognize that like right now is all that matters because flowers don't last forever and that's the beauty of them and that's why they're so important is because they don't last forever in my opinion. And so being able to give that to my couples being like, this is only for right now and only for your day. You're never going to have these again. No one else is ever going to have this same thing. Other people are going to get married in that same kind of wedding dress style. Other people are going to have the same food that you've eaten, but no one is ever going to have the exact flowers that you have right now. Because even if you see it on Pinterest, you're like, that's so pretty. I want to make that. And like, you're like copying another one that you see on Pinterest. Those are different flowers that are not the same varieties and they're not the exact same because you can copy and paste like varieties sort of, but 99% of the time in my experience, there's always going to be some that are out of season. There's always going to be some that, you know, have to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And so it is so unique to each couple because each couple is unique.
And you said something just a minute ago, like it helps you be in the moment because they only last so long and so does the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to get caught up and then your wedding day just like vanishes. But I do think that flowers kind of bring you back to, I don't know. I am big on like grounding, like touching grass, like go outside, take a breath of fresh air, like put your hands on the grass, put your feet on the grass. And it like kind of brings you back to reality of being like, okay, it's going to be fine. I do that when I'm designing. If I'm like really stressed out, I didn't do this for like, I don't know. I started doing it recently because I was designing and I was like just kind of flustered with timeline and things like that. And I was like, man, it's just going so fast and this isn't working out how I wanted it to work out with like this little specific little detail that literally did not matter. And the gal that was with me, she was helping me design. She's like, go outside, take a break, drink a little bit of water, go outside. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went outside for 5 minutes and I came back and I was like, whoa, like this is fine. I walk in and I was like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I did a like beautiful styled shoot in Tamarack. And I was like, walked back in and I was like, this looks fine.
Yeah.
Like I can't even see that stupid little corner that was really bugging me because the branch was going like this and not like this. And it doesn't matter. And so being able to go outside and kind of ground yourself really helps. But in terms of couples on their wedding day, having that like energy that flowers carry is so awesome and
Yeah.
like such a luxury, in my opinion, to have on your wedding day. But
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I agree. I feel like you can get so caught up in the details and you can just get so stressed out. But then once you go outside, like you said, like it just is like a reset.
Yeah.
That or like taking a shower, I feel like just like
Yeah. Amen.
reset. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot too, especially with the grounding thing. Like I'd never tried grounding, but we were at the cabin this weekend and I was like, I want to sit in the grass. And
Yeah.
so I like took my socks off, like and I just like it's woo woo, but like
Yeah.
I
I
like
see that. Like it's hippie voodoo, but
yeah.
like kind of works
But I
sometimes.
mean like you just it's a reset and it's
Yeah.
nice. So
Yeah, it really is.
yeah.
And that's also why I love the mountains and why that was so inspiring to me to have like kind of a mountain based
Mhm.
business is because like it all everything stems from like being outside
Yeah.
and flowers are outside. I don't know. It just made so much sense to me.
No, it does. It does. I think it's a perfect name.
Yeah.
What is your favorite wedding tradition?
Oh man.
Or do you have one?
I love private vows and I love them because they are so personal and every ceremony is so beautiful. But the ceremonies that you can tell the couple is like relaxed and present is
Mhm.
really nice. And just, I don't know, I think private vows are just, that's not even related to flowers, but that's
No.
probably my favorite trend
Yeah.
as a whole because they get to really experience that together and like make those promises that are so important to them. And it is beautiful to also share those promises with the people that are joining you on your wedding day. But for each couple, it's different. And I love that. I did private vows with my husband, and that was my favorite part of the whole day. It was
Mhm.
so special. And I like almost tear up just thinking about it because it was just very us,
Well, and
you
it's
know?
unique because I mean, throughout your wedding day, you're always surrounded by somebody
Yeah.
and like people, but it's really the day to celebrate you as a couple coming together. So it's nice that you get that kind of experience with that person because you don't get it the rest of the day.
Yeah, it's like the only thing that you really get to share, like with just you two. It's the
Mhm.
only time that your photographer is not really like next to you. Like
Mhm.
it can be off in the distance taking pictures of you, you know, but they're not like next to you really listening, or, you know, your bridesmaids aren't like next to you, or the groomsmen aren't like making jokes or whatever. It's just you two. And even at dinner, if you're just having a sweethearts table with you two, you're still surrounded by everyone. That's
Yeah.
the one time that you can really like sneak off and share something really sentimental. I feel like, I don't know. That's probably
Well,
my
and
favorite trend.
like with me, like my husband is my best friend, and like I want to make jokes with him.
Yeah.
Like if people are around, like
Yeah, they don't get
it's
it.
awkward, yeah, and they don't get it.
Yeah.
Or like you can like reflect on the day, like while you're still in there in the moment,
Right.
versus like if you have people around, like people are coming up and talking to you, and which is fine.
Yeah.
But again, like you don't get that like moment.
Yeah, just you two,
Yeah.
like, really sitting in the fact that, like, "Oh my gosh, we're about to get married in, like, 20 minutes." Like, that's
Hmm.
just crazy. It's so
Yeah.
crazy.
There we go. Okay. So the next couple ones I'll just tell you so you can kind of get an
Sweet.
idea. What's a small detail that makes a huge difference on the wedding day? And then
Oh my.
what's something about florals that surprise most couples when they get into the details? And then lastly, what's one piece of advice you'd give to couples just starting their wedding planning journey? How do you see the wedding industry evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
Man, I think it's going to evolve so much, especially where we're at
Mhm.
style-wise, but also, like, priority-wise. I mean, we chatted about how styles are changing so much, and I think with social media, it's going to change faster and faster and faster. Like,
Yeah.
we're not gonna see
Idaho
I
being 10 years behind.
Yeah, I think that maybe we'll be like 5 years behind,
Yeah.
but we're getting there,
Yeah.
and I think that we're not really gonna see, like, decades of the same trend anymore. We're not
Oh,
gonna see, like, the 2000 mason jars and then, like, the
chevron.
no, teal, the mint, and the hot pink chevron. Yeah, and that was, like, a decade that just
Yeah.
ruled Pinterest,
Uh,
and then we had, like, a decade of, like, pampas grass, baby's breath, white, millennial core, like, that kind of look. And I think, honestly, we're not really gonna have a full kind of decade or era like that again
Yeah.
of we might. I might be eating my words in 3 years when we still see, like, I don't know, Barbie pink. I don't know. I don't think that there's gonna be one thing
Yeah.
that really rules anymore because of social media
Yeah.
and just the accessibility that we have.
Well, and the constant want to be different.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the trend right now is being, like, not, like,
Trendy.
the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
not trendy, which is So funny.
Yeah.
But
It's trendy to not be trendy.
yeah, yeah, I think that's really gonna pivot a bit, and then priority-wise, I think weddings are gonna shift to more intimate gatherings. I'm already seeing a gigantic shift in guest count. The average guest count has decreased by over half for almost every single one of my weddings from, like, this year from last year,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, instead of, like, 200 to 300 being the norm, we're now seeing, like, 50 to 120 as my average, which is awesome because now most couples are like, yeah, we do have the budget to have like 12 aisle meadows versus like 24
Mhm.
because if you want to line the whole thing, I use that as an example a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense in my head. And then um, you're also saving, I mean, with the increased cost of literally everything, mm, it just makes sense
Yeah.
economically to have less people.
Well, and
And
you're not gonna get quality time with 300 people.
yeah, right.
Realistically, like, the day is 8 hours, but, like,
Hmm.
half that you're getting ready, so, like and then a quarter of that is the ceremony, so a quarter of your day, you're not gonna get to
Hmm.
really spend time with 300 t even 2 to 300 people.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, people are
in
gonna show up and see you at your table and go, "Bye," and then
yeah.
they're gonna leave, and I think a lot of couples are really realizing that that doesn't really make sense for them to have people there that they don't prioritize as, like, their immediate circle, and some people's immediate circle is, like, 20 people for their wedding, and some people's is, like, 120, but whoever's important to them, they're gonna prioritize,
Mhm.
and I love that shift.
Well, and I personally don't see, like, the justification behind spending thousands upon thousands of dollars for people, like, that you talk to once
Yeah,
every 5 years,
exactly. I
or
know.
even once every even once a year. It's like,
Yeah,
"Am I gonna spend $100 really for you to be at my wedding?"
yeah, and I think with, luxury planners and things, they're really talking about dollar per guest, and that's
It's more than just food.
yes, it's an experience, and how much money are you willing to pay per guest for them to have that experience to elevate your wedding?
Mhm.
Whether you want someone doing live paintings of, like, each guest, which
Yeah.
the coolest,
Mhm.
I love that, or, like, one-on-one really niche activities like that, or if you're gonna have
Mhm.
an oyster bar. You can't do that with 300 people. I mean, you could, as long as I'm one of those 300 people, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you wanna do something really out of the box and cool like that for your wedding, it's gonna be a lot harder to do for a mass amount of people versus a smaller group. So
And I do love I that's one trend that I'm really loving right now is, like, making it a whole experience and, like, kind of not prioritizing the guest experience because it's not about them, but
yeah.
also, like, making it a little bit more memorable
Mm,
because it's hard, like, being a guest and, like, just showing up and waiting for you to get your pictures done and then, like,
mhm.
getting 5 minutes with you, like, have something for them to do.
Yeah. It's not so much anymore of just having guests come see your ceremony, have a drink, have dinner, bye. It's almost like them stepping into your dream day, which I am obsessed with.
Yeah.
What what do, Jane and Joe love doing the
Mhm.
very most? And that's gonna reflect on their wedding day, and so all of their guests are gonna come in and feel like they're kinda living their
Their lives.
friend's dream day.
Yeah.
And so if their dream day is like, I don't know having tiramisu and limoncello shots, like, awesome, and they wanna pretend like they're in Italy or they are in Italy,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And, they're gonna make it really interactive and fun because they want to, not because they feel like they have to for the guests, but because they prioritize their own experience of making it infusing their personality into the whole day and
Mhm.
not just, like, the decor,
Yeah.
which I think is so fun. And then the guests are like, "Oh my gosh, like, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen," or it's more
Mhm.
memorable for them. And then they're not standing around with a bunch of, like, strangers. There
Yeah.
might be people there that they don't know, but it's not like hundreds of strangers that you feel like you're getting lost in. It's like a group of people that you're sharing an experience with
Mhm.
for this beautiful couple. And,
Yeah.
like, you're sharing the experience with the couple and not just, like, kinda cheering them on from a distance.
Mm. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. What's something about floristry that surprises most couples when they get into the details?
I hate to say it, but the cost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I do understand the sticker shock. I get it. Uh, I I can explain it till I'm blue in the face, but I mean, flowers are just expensive. And
Well, and it's not just the flowers, it's the
yeah,
flowers, the prep,
yes.
I could go on.
Yeah, like the reasons behind why it's so expensive are just never ending. I started writing out the list the other day. I was just chatting with my husband about like all of the things there are to do. And he was like, oh my gosh, like that's a lot. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I go to bed at 3 a.m. every day. You know, like
Yeah.
there's just so much and it's not just me doing them either. Like I have people helping and a team and stuff. And so it's a lot like having the bills to like run the cooler and the AC and like having all of the water and like even those bare basics, people don't really realize they're like expenses too, in addition to how much the flowers cost. And yeah, there's so much that goes into the cost that I like, oh my gosh, I can't even start to explain. But I do think that's what surprises them the most. But then once you start looking at it, you're like, oh, that actually makes sense because like if you go to Albertsons and you're looking at a bouquet, it's also $80 for
Mhm.
like 6 or 7 roses with a little bit of baby's breath and a little bit of like salon like leaves.
Yeah.
It's also like $80. And so if you're like comparing that to a centerpiece for your table, it's not the same. Logically, you see a centerpiece as like $200 and you're like, "What? Why is that $200?" But then you like go to the store and you're like, "Oh, I guess like I don't want it to look like that, so then it's going to be this." I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's my favorite. Okay. What's one piece of advice you'd give to couples just starting the wedding planning journey?
Yeah, I think taking the time to research who you're booking and booking people that you trust.
Mm.
Booking people that align with your vision because you can just book the first vendor that you come across. You can see really pretty pictures on their feed, but if their vision doesn't align with yours, it's going to be a lot more work in the long run to try and get that vision kind of aligned. And it is
Mhm.
very, very normal to have discussion about like what your vision is and being like, no, I want to change that thing. Or like, actually, can I have more examples of this thing? That's super normal and really good conversation to have. But having a vendor that's like, cannot comprehend why you wouldn't want things the way that they always do it is like really, really hard.
Mhm.
And making sure that their policies align with your day. I don't know, like if you're planning to have like a dance party that goes until 1 a.m., like make sure you have a venue that allows that.
Right.
And if you're wanting to have a bar at your venue, make sure that they're licensed and like things like that. And florists that know how to execute the style that you're looking for. If you're wanting someone that does no greenery and you're booking with someone that's ultra traditional, they're probably not gonna, like, get it because it
Yeah.
takes way more flowers, genuinely. Like, it takes so much more, and the design to get the shapes right and things like that, like, if that's not a style that they're used to, it's gonna be really hard. Just looking at the long term of, like, do they actually align with what I want, and does their pricing, like, reflect that? Because it's not just the cheapest person, so
Side note, did you hear that people are booking their vendors with ChatGPT?
What?
Yeah. Apparently ChatGPT will like you'll be like,
Stop it.
"Hey, I want XYZ. Show me local vendors that'll do that."
What?
Yeah, and it'll come up with recommendations and people are like actually booking. So,
I actually got an inquiry. I was actually thinking this. I got an inquiry and I was like, that was written by ChatGPT. And
Mhm.
I have a sentence on there. Write 1 to 2 sentences about your wedding day. And it was
Yeah.
like M dash. And I was like, I don't know. And it felt very like it didn't feel super authentic. And I was
Yeah.
like, is that you? Like
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, that does not seem like something that I don't
Someone would
know.
write.
Someone would write. At
Yeah.
least not a human. I don't know. I was kind of like taken. It could be. They could just be very grammatically correct. That's fine. And like,
Yeah.
but it just didn't really feel, I don't know. So that actually does not, it surprises me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, have I been subject to that already? I'm shook. Anyways, so that's
It is.
shocking.
It is. But like I see both sides of it. Like I understand that ChatGPT is a powerful tool that can like look
Mhm.
at everybody's SEO and like actually probably help you find the right
Yeah.
person. But then on the other side of things, like that's my business model. Like
Yeah.
I want to help connect people and like of people like that are truly like one real people and I can
Mhm.
like back their work. But also I don't know. It's a very interesting world that we're like coming into.
Yeah.
So
It is very interesting.
yeah, I just hope that like it's like not just going I mean like it's so hard to justify like what's it going off of.
Mhm.
But I just hope that it can get, like, real people and we're not gonna create, like, a whole big problem out of that.
Yeah, I think wedding planning is a lot of work. And so coming from the bride's perspective or whoever's making those inquiries, I totally understand the want to expedite that.
But just think of, like, I mean, all the times that I've used ChatGPT, like, yes, it's super great and it's super helpful, but then also there have been several times where it's, like, pretty badly messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Just simply not correct.
Yeah, just, like,
Because
completely fake. I tested it out and I was like, "Hey, like, show me, like, 5 vendors in this category near me."
oh,
And it, like, made some up. Like, some were,
what?
like, genuinely not real.
Huh.
So, I mean, be careful.
Yeah. Seriously, be
Yeah.
careful. And it makes me kind of sad a little bit because like I understand the want to expedite and
Mhm.
make things easier and faster, but that's also what I don't know, I'm so sorry, but that's what wedding planners are there for. I know that you have to pay them, but, like, you pay them for a reason
Mhm.
because they're gonna do things accurately and correctly, and ChatGPT is not your wedding planner.
Yeah.
It's not your wedding planner. It
Yeah.
can assist you with ideas and, like, maybe steps and instructions, but, like, it's
Yeah.
not going to plan your wedding for you in the way that you are going to need it to be planned for you. That's really interesting. I feel very I don't know, maybe this is weird. Maybe I'm just sensitive, but every single inquiry that comes in my inbox, I get kind of attached to.
Yeah.
Like I care about them. And
Mhm.
I'm not like devastated if they don't book. I'm like I hope that, everything is working out for them and they found someone that fits their vision and all of those things. But to think that that would be automated and just like random makes me really sad
Yeah.
because
Well, and
I
it
care.
like,
Yeah.
that's my big thing, especially with this, is, like, I'm trying to put, like, the human connection back into
Yeah.
things because I
Mhm.
feel like with social media, like, especially with the podcast, like, with social media, it's just everybody's polished feed,
Yeah,
which
you
is
see the
great.
best of everybody, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. But, like, I wanna, like, show that these are people too, and
Yeah, everyone has a story. I love chatting with each couple and being like, "Tell me about your engagement. How did you guys meet? And what do you
Mhm.
guys do? And what do you like doing in your free time?
Yeah.
Where are you going on your honeymoon?" Like fun things like that. And I don't know. One of my favorite parts of the business is meeting with clients in person.
Yeah.
I know some people really don't like to because, like, I
It's
don't know.
intimidating,
It is intimidating, but
especially for, like, an introvert.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I feel like I'm like, "Let's go get coffee, let's go meet up," and it's so fun, and that's always so cute. What a love bug. Yeah, she's
It's
like,
okay.
"Talk to me too." Oh,
Hello.
my gosh.
She's like, "This is my couch, mom."
This is mine now. So cute.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think just having that really personal connection, like meeting face to face is
Mhm.
really invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being on the
Of
podcast.
course, thank you so much.
Anything you wanna leave them with? Shameless plug?
Oh my. Follow me on Instagram at Wild Alpine Floral. And
Anything
yeah,
exciting coming up?
man, so many fun things actually. I feel like it's just gonna be a wild summer. I've blinked and it's halfway over. I just got back from Hawaii
Oh my gosh.
and so many fun weddings coming up that I'm so excited
I
about.
can't wait to see.
Stay tuned. Yeah, just really fun projects. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.